She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA.
The WNBA leadership can no longer dismiss what Rebecca Lobo is saying about Caitlin Clark and the league's officiating because her comments are incredibly revealing. Although we recently witnessed another powerful example of the Caitlin Clark effect following the questionable officiating in the Fever-Sun matchup, those same officiating issues could end up causing serious damage to the WNBA. And WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo has now sounded the warning. This is not simply a matter of opinion. She revealed what many people around the WNBA have reportedly been discussing behind closed doors regarding the state of officiating. If recent events have shown us anything, it is that the WNBA still has not figured out how to properly manage and protect its biggest attraction, Caitlin Clark. The league may not welcome these comments, but they needed to be made. Let's take a closer look at Rebecca's statements, along with the latest chapter in the Fever story, which brings plenty of excitement while also making the WNBA's lack of action even more troubling. Before we get into it, make sure you enjoy this video. Since it seems the referees have forgotten how to use their whistles, every like counts as one extra whistle. Be sure to subscribe for more updates on Caitlin Clark and the Fever. The WNBA could use a reminder, so let's rewind for a moment.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark. Two players with incredible Clark, another long three. She's back.
As I write this, Caitlin Clark's impressive return came just a few games ago. She exploded for 25 first-half points, highlighted by 3 deep logo threes in only 38 seconds. It was a breathtaking sequence that didn't simply remind fans of what they had been missing. It reminded the entire league, who is truly leading the way.
But here we go with Caitlin Clark, singularly, being missing for the time she was gone, and ratings tanking, 50% in some cases. And then also she comes back and reminds everyone how spectacular she is. And everybody's talking about the WNBA. So if you needed to sort of have it affirmed to you that it is just her, that the singularity of her is what we are talking about and her star power, you got it with this absence and then the way she came back.
This wasn't just another big game. It was the ultimate statement that left no room for doubt. The WNBA doesn't simply gain from Caitlin Clark's presence. It depends on her. Those 5 games she was sidelined weren't merely a temporary setback. They exposed a much bigger reality. Television ratings declined. Online engagement fell sharply. National attention lost its momentum. And before long, every WNBA storyline without Caitlin Clark seemed to fade into the background.
Rebecca, tell me, what does Clark's return mean for the WNBA?
Well, I mean, it means a lot more people are paying attention once again. We know how much Caitlin drives ratings. We know how much Caitlin drives attention on the WNBA. And for her to come back and do it in that way was just ridiculous.
After weeks of falling ratings and growing scrutiny, Caitlin Clark's return didn't just energize the Fever. It gave the entire WNBA a major boost. The matchup against the Liberty reached a peak audience of 2.8 million viewers, making it one of the most-watched WNBA broadcasts in league history. For comparison, the NHL's Stanley Cup Final averaged around 2.5 million viewers. Of course, hockey and basketball aren't an exact apples-to-apples comparison, but the fact that Caitlin Clark attracted a larger audience than a championship series from a century-old men's professional league is far from ordinary. While WNBA leadership appears to have overlooked the importance of that achievement, which we'll discuss shortly, it certainly wasn't overlooked by Rebecca Lobo, an Olympic gold medalist, Basketball Hall of Famer, and one of ESPN's most respected analysts. Before we dive into her comments on the officiating, take a look at how she described the enormous impact of Clark's return.
Sitting there at the end of the first quarter when she had that 38-second stretch where she drained deep three after deep three after deep three, I was just sitting there thinking, I've been around this league since 1997. I have never seen that in a WNBA game. Have we seen players go on runs? Of course we have. but not like that. Not where a couple of the three-pointers are from 30-plus feet. It was an exhibition by her.
Pay close attention to what Rebecca Lobo said. Her message was simple. Once again, people are tuning in. It may seem like a brief comment, but it carries a much deeper meaning. Because if viewers are coming back, it also means many had stopped watching in the first place. And we all know exactly when that happened. It was during the period when Caitlin Clark was sidelined. But Lobo didn't stop there. She went on to explain exactly why fans returned the moment Clark stepped back onto the court.
It was just ridiculous. It's not often that you're watching the WNBA or that I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, I've just never seen this before.
That's exactly the issue. These weren't ordinary deep three-pointers or even long-range jumpers. They were logo shots from almost another zip code. Fans tune in because very few players, if any, can make those shots consistently and make them look effortless. Even Natasha Cloud, who hasn't always been supportive of Caitlin Clark's fanbase, had to acknowledge the reality. The moment Clark crosses midcourt, defenses have to pick her up. That's not something you see every day. Just ask Rebecca Lobo.
This angle is wild, folks. There's the eye gouge. Watch Mabry. Boom! I mean, come on.
We're no longer talking only about missed whistles or tough defensive play. What has been happening, not just since Caitlin Clark's return, but throughout last season and continuing into this one, has become increasingly concerning. We're talking about a pattern that has grown so obvious that even longtime WNBA insiders like Rebecca Lobo have started speaking out. And the game against the Sun should have been a wake-up call for everyone across the league.
Hey, we would have been crashing that RT.
Courtney, if somebody ever tackles you like that,
Nobody would ever tackle me like that. They would play with Bridget like that, and then we would have to like take it up there.
okay.
You see what I'm saying?
But I'm just saying,
Nobody would ever play with me like
if
that.
that ever happened, you better crash out behind me, because I'm crashing out behind you. We can share the same jail cell.
JC Sheldon and Marina Mabry appeared to hit Caitlin Clark with a hard body check that sent her to the floor, followed by contact to her face. Yet for some reason, neither player was ejected. I'm not going to pretend Caitlin wasn't exchanging words with JC Sheldon beforehand. She was, but trading comments with an opponent is not an excuse for physical retaliation. You can't expect the league to keep growing if plays begin to resemble professional wrestling instead of basketball. The broadcasters were just as stunned. You could hear the surprise in their voices. They fully expected an ejection. The reaction was similar throughout the league. What unfolded left players, coaches, analysts, and fans equally shocked.
This is JC Sheldon right here with an entire handful of Caitlin Clark's shoulder and bicep, and she's twisting it. Okay? I mean, this is wild. Here's the zoomed out look, the snapshot. I mean, this league does not have control of its players.
Naturally, the clip of Caitlin Clark being shoved and struck in the face quickly went viral and became the biggest talking point. But it wasn't just one isolated moment of chaos. The officiating crew had been allowing the tension to build throughout the entire game without stepping in.
You know, the game has changed so much. Players are faster, they're better, they're bigger, they're stronger. They're as good as they've ever been. They're as athletic as they've ever been. The game is fast now. Things are happening quickly. Everybody's getting better, except the officials.
The bigger concern is that this wasn't an isolated incident. Throughout the season, questionable officiating, missed calls, and a lack of protection for players like Caitlin Clark have continued to fuel frustration across the league. Rebecca Lobo revealed that every WNBA coach she spoke with believes officiating consistency must improve, warning that when players lose trust in the officials, the game becomes more physical and more dangerous. If the league fails to address the problem, it risks not only player safety but also the future of its biggest star and the continued growth of the WNBA.